Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, MrBooMStickXL. And before the show starts, grab your cup of coffee, take your bacon, egg, and cheese bagel, and get ready for one of the best morning game shows on YouTube. The amount of talent I have assembled for today's panel is nothing short of outstanding. So let's get right into the introductions. First up, making his triumphant return to the YouTube scene after taking some time off, pro Xbox gamer, professional YouTuber, diehard movie buff, and guess what? He's a DC comic fanboy. He's been gaming for over 38 years, and for the cherry on top of this Sunday, he's also an Xbox ambassador, host of the Micropod, and co-host of the incredible Dragon X Podcast. Please welcome my very good friend, Microbox of X.
Oh my God, you picked me up so much there. I thought you were introducing somebody else. What's going on? It's great to be back. It's great to be back with Breakfast with Boom. It's my first podcast since my return. So I'm really, really pleased to be here. And the guys are chomping at the bit as well for Saturday to, return with the Micropod as well. So I know they're chomping at the bit. So make sure you check out the channel, check out the Micropod tomorrow evening. It's great to be back, guys. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction.
Well, awesome. Listen, it's glad the community is glad to have you back. You were sorely missed. You're one of the community good guys. So welcome to the show. Next, he's known as the biggest freak nasty gamer on YouTube, can do more impressions than anyone I know. Get to the chopper. The Canadian mouth of the South, physical media supporter, one of the community's absolute finest, panel member of the Game Dosage Podcast, and of course, the saltiest podcast, creator of Goofing with Noof on YouTube, my very good friend, all the way from Canada, Noof Nukem. Welcome to the show, dude.
It's a little cold outside, but this room is going to be smoking hot. Yes, we have got a great panel assembled for you this morning. The chat is already raring to go. I got my coffee on top of a disc coaster here, so that's how I'm going to roll. Even going to drink my coffee on discs. That's how we do it. But yeah, it's going to be a good show, man. Boom, boom, kaboom. Noof is in the room. I'm ready to go.
Nice. Nice. Well, listen, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Glad you have your cup of coffee. And we're going to get to the next panel member. Next up, he considers himself a car enthusiast, a.k.a. gearhead, proud family man, casual gamer with more gaming knowledge than a year's worth of Game Informer magazines, multi-console supporter, friend to the entire community, and panel member of the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam. Please welcome Fuzzy Belvedere. Welcome, dude.
Thank you. Welcome. Thanks. Fuzzy Belvedere here. Great to be here. Awesome panel today. Looking forward to talking about these games. Always great to work with you here, Boom. And let's get to the topics.
Nice. Well, it's great to hear. Great to have you on the show, dude. Big fan of you on the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you're here to talk gaming. Next up, we have the unchallengeable leader of the Sesh Empire, full-time gardener, and his crop of choice is the Devil's Lettuce, defender of the Xbox Game Pass movement, upper echelon member where his ninja assassins bring him the coffee, and panel member of the RDX Podcast. Please welcome So Shady.
Hey, thanks, Boom. That was a hell of an intro. It is an absolute pleasure to be here this morning, sharing the panel with a bunch of passionate gamers. I can't wait to get into these topics, man. Like Noof said, it is cold as hell up here in Canada. I've been out shoveling snow, adding a new layer to the igloo, if you will. But I'm ready to go, man. Let's get her done.
Nice. And last, in no way least, all the way from snowy Poland, he's an IT engineer extraordinaire by day, puts on his cape and cowl, becoming the masked YouTuber by night, multi-console and PC gamer trying to make his mark within these YouTube streets, makes daily videos, keeping the community up to date on everything gaming, creator of Mads Gaming on YouTube. Please welcome Just Mads. Welcome, my brother.
Thanks a lot for this great introduction, right? Like, I'm going to record it I will just play it once for a while, just to feel better. Now, listen, thanks for the invite. Nice to be here. It's cold as hell outside, as you heard. So yeah, let's get into these topics.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. First up, we have to talk about something. And we're actually going to talk about a company called From Software. Now, this topic I pulled from GameInformer.com, and I happen to really like them. They put up a lot of really good articles. According to the article, they are saying that From Software is working on 2 unannounced games. And if I was a betting man, I would guarantee that Bloodborne 2 was one of those titles and should, in fact, be a launch title for the PlayStation 5. Now, this year, most of the talk surrounding From Software was focused on the reveal of the new title, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, and I cannot wait for that game. I have it pre-ordered. As a matter of fact, not a big surprise. I have the collector's edition that comes with the statue. It looks very Tenchu-ish, if you will. I love the Tenchu series on the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. But you know what? In an interview with 4Gamer and then translated by Gemasatru, From Software's Hidaka Masaki says that the company has 2 unannounced games in the work, though fans will have to wait a bit for any details. As a part of this interview, they also go to say that there are going to be some big surprises. Now, I want to go to Noof on this. Now, Noof, you're a multi-console supporter. I don't know if you like the Soul series. I like them, but I am terrible at them. But I'm going to say this. Something about Bloodborne and something about another game that's like it, Neo, really grabbed me on the PlayStation 4. I played both games. Yes, I'm not really good or that good anyway in Bloodborne. But do you suspect, like me, that one of these so-called other titles that they're working on would be Bloodborne 2?
I think it's potentially quite possible, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, it just kind of makes sense. But I mean, I'm excited to know that they are working on a couple of titles. But I have to get this out of the way, and I can't sound too excited because, first, I'm not a Bloodborne fan. I'm not a Dark Souls fan. Okay. From a principle standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint, I think the games are great. I think they're cool. I understand why people like them. I just wish they had more options for wussy ass gamers like me who can't stand super hard difficulties. I mean, I don't mind a challenge, but I any game where I'm dying repetitively, especially if the game's got terrible checkpoint systems and you have to restart and you lose a lot of your progress and stuff like that, I can't stand that stuff. Like, to me, I'm just swearing. And if any game makes me swear on a constant basis and I want to pitch my controller at the screen, then I say it's probably a good thing that I give it up, because I will throw the controller at a screen. I've destroyed Xboxes before out of frustration on games, so trust me, I do not need to get to that level. So when games piss me off, I put them down. So, but I think it's cool. I mean, Sekiro actually looks good. That might be one of the first. I might have to give that one a try.
It looks more action than it does like your brutal Souls games.
Yes, absolutely. So I may have to give it one to try, but I think it's cool, and I definitely think they're up to something. And Bloodborne 2 would definitely be a huge splash if they announce it.
Yeah, me too. Listen, real quick before I get on to the next guest and his opinion, I have to thank Jesse Darby for the amazing $5 super chat. And he says, Boom is in the room, and how's everyone else doing? Listen, dude, thank you so much for being here, and I do greatly appreciate the $5 super chat. But So Shady, I want to get to you for a second. You know, despite the lack of info, this leaves some interesting room for speculation regarding this. Maybe that Bloodborne sequel doesn't exist at all, or maybe it's another Souls game coming. We don't know. But if you were a guy that was calculating, you know, how these things would play out, does it sound realistic to expect a Bloodborne 2 for a launch of the PlayStation 5?
I think it does sound realistic to have a Bloodborne 2. What I'm wondering is, do you know how tied Bloodborne in the series is to PlayStation? Do they own the IP for that? Or
that's a great question, dude, because I actually do not have the answer. If anyone in the chat knows, please, let us know and I'll give you a shout out. That's actually a great question, and I'm actually gonna throw this out there to you real quick. And because I want to bounce, I like bouncing questions off each other. How awesome would it be if Bloodborne 2 made its way to the Xbox platform, giving that series more fans to play it?
That would be fantastic. Like for me personally, I'm not into those types of games myself, but my roommate is huge. He loves those types of games. And with, Phil Spencer going over to Japan a few times over the last bit, making a bunch of deals and trying to get more and more Japanese third-party games to be showing up on Xbox, especially day and date, not a year later. Unless Sony has Bloodborne truly locked down, I could really see the next one jumping and becoming an actual multi-platform game. Kind of like what Mass Effect 2 did, or Titanfall 2 did even, and that's that. A lot of these games aren't completely hinged on a massive cliffhanger that you need to know the entirety of the first game in order to enjoy or understand the sequel. Same with movies. Like they do it on purpose. It's better to have played the first game or have seen the first movie a lot of the times, but it's usually not necessary. So I think that they will be making that game. It was very successful, and I could see it being a multi-platform game myself. And then the other one, I don't know. I mean, I could see another Dark Souls. Those games do really well.
They
There's a lot
sell
of
like
fans.
hotcakes, dude.
That's right. Like there's a lot of fans out there, and they are massively passionate about that type of a series, that type of game. So they do really well. So I could see both titles going, and I'd like to see them all multi-platform.
Yeah, I know that you're a big fan of that. Real quick, wow, Caboose V42 with the outstanding $25 super chat, dude. I don't even know what to say, but thank you. That is extremely kind of you. But let's move on to Microbox. Micro, listen, again, I don't know. I know that you're an Xbox gamer, right? I know that's that's where you lay your hat at the end of every evening, and that's great. But for just practically speaking, Bloodborne is going to be Bloodborne 2 is going to be a big title, and when better than a launch of the PlayStation 5?
No, I mean, it'd be a good thing for the system. I mean, I'm like the other guys. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Dark Souls or Bloodborne, but purely because, when people say a game's hard, I'll think, oh, well, I'll still have a go. But when everybody in the community says a game's hard, I'm avoiding that. I'm not going near it. So I'm not a big fan of that style of game. But, they're extremely popular games, and they would sell systems, and it makes sense for them to come out on that system. But, I mean, what they're working on at the moment, I mean, it could be these games, and they are extremely popular, but they've also got quite a history of mech games as well. So
yes, they do.
Yeah, I mean, these are the guys that did Chrome Hounds, is it?
Yeah, Chrome Hounds, yes.
Chrome Hounds and Armored Core. They've done loads of the Armored Core games. I wouldn't be too surprised if they're not working on something like that, some kind of mech game, because, again, they're not my cup of tea, but they have got a big sort of appeal. People do like mech games. And I mean, these guys did Ninja Blade as well, I think, on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. I think they've got quite a varied back catalogue that they could go back to, or even new projects as well. But Dark Souls and Bloodborne, they are popular. They will sell in the droves, so it makes sense if they're at least working on one of them. But I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't see them working on something new as well. Perhaps even a new IP.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Obviously, we have the new IP coming with Sekiro, and I think that's going to do very well. I think that is going to garner sequels. It looks fantastic. It looks action-packed. I'm a big samurai fan. I actually this morning just finished Onimusha Warlords, which I encourage everyone. If you're a fan of old-school Capcom games, drop your $20 down. It is absolutely worth it. The achievements are, extremely reasonable. I'm actually enjoyed the game so much, I am probably going to double dip and get it for the Switch. But Fuzzy, I want to get your opinion on this now.
Real quick, Boom, before we go to anyone else, I was going to say some guy and Jesse Darby in the chat said that Bloodborne is a Sony-owned IP.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well,
so
thank you for that. I missed that. Okay, great.
Yeah, so I was quickly going to say, okay, so PS Now on any device then seems to be that.
Yeah,
flavor
I mean-
everyone's going for.
Well, listen, don't get the people started so early in the morning. They're gonna be rioting in the streets any
Early.
second now. My God. But you know what, Fuzzy? I want to get your opinion on this. I know that you play on PC, that you're a multi-console gamer, and even if you don't play Bloodborne, which again, it's not my, it's not. I don't race to play it. I race to get killed in it, and I know that. So I'll play it for an hour and get hacked down 10 times, and I'm like, you think I've had my fair share of abuse, and I'll move on to something else. But the PS5, it's going to be a big deal. It's a big deal, and we don't have anything on it whatsoever. But having a Bloodborne in there, Bloodborne 2, my God, that would be big for that console. Do you think it's a possibility?
I'm pretty certain of it. It's just one of those things. I know that there was a rumor before that a Bloodborne 2 was being was in the works, and that they were going to unveil it. Like, I think it was like E3 2017, and that didn't happen. Which I'm pretty sure a lot of the PS5 launch games have probably already been in development for at least a year or two. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the target, to have it ready for launch for the PS5. It'd be good to see. A lot of people have been anxiously waiting for a second part to that series. Another Bloodborne would be great, but I think Microbox probably nailed it on the head with the Wolf of Chaos or something like that they've done.
Yep.
If they could do another mech game, which, if Bloodborne is going to be the PlayStation exclusive, Xbox has had mech games or Mech Assault and things like that before. I could see that possibly being something that may just lean towards Xbox at that point. From Software, I don't think really shows any favoritism. They just are going to want to make games for people that are going to enjoy them. And if Phil Spencer's been talking to them, I could see that being something that he would probably put in as a request. And considering that mech games haven't really made an appearance in a while, other than like your Titanfall type games, that could be something that they were a little hesitant to bring out. And Microsoft would be like, hey, yeah, we'll work on financing that, or at least putting money towards it. So Bloodborne, I definitely see that for PS5 launch title, or within the first year of it coming out. I don't think it would be something that would be backwards compatible, let's say, for like a PS4 crowd. But Sony is one of those companies where they're going to want people to go into the latest, greatest. So I don't foresee it being playable on the PS4, but PS5 definitely. But a Wolf of Chaos game, maybe only on Xbox, I could see something like that being a possibility as well.
Well, you bring up a really, really solid point, Fuzzy, and that I did not even have in the show notes. Phil Spencer went to Japan 6 times in 2018, and that's, he didn't go there because he was looking to go on vacation. He went, this with business trips, and he was there for a few days, meeting with many of the Japanese development community, trying to garner support for not only the Xbox in Japan, but Xbox here in the States. So that's a great point. But Mads, I want to get to you, dude. I know you play loads of games. You're an old school gamer, like most of us here. You've been playing games since you can get them illegally on fake discs back in Poland. I heard that story.
These were on tapes, actually.
Oh, they're on tapes.
Yeah, tapes.
That's great.
I'm that old.
And listen, I'm right there with you, dude. I'm the old man in the group. And you know what? Guess what? It's great because we got to experience this amazing generation from start until hopefully finish. But we'll see what happens. What are your takes on Bloodborne 2 possibly being a launch title for the PS5? And do you think that that's a smart move?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a smart move, because Bloodborne actually sold pretty well on PlayStation. I think they sold like over 3 million copies.
Yes, it's probably. I would imagine now that it's probably closer to 4 million, but that's a strong sale for a punishing game.
Yeah, exactly, because it's quite difficult. I never finished the game. I played it quite a bit back in the days. So I enjoyed it, and like, there's so many like rumors about this game, and I'm hearing like a lot of PlayStation guys, talking about this game constantly and stuff. So there is a following, and Sony would be stupid not to like release sequel to it. But I mean, like as Shady actually said, that it is a proper PlayStation for exclusive. And but as for the this game being a PlayStation 5 launch title, I mean, it could potentially launch around this time, but I don't think it would be like a proper PlayStation 5 exclusive, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Because I think this game has been, because we've heard rumors about this game for like at least like 2 years. So I would imagine, now obviously this is not like unofficial information, right? That's just my thoughts on it. But like I would imagine it would still be a PlayStation 4 title. So potentially could be available on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. And and to be honest with you, I would imagine a lot of games being like that, especially that it's not really like it's not like a first party studio is actually working on this game, right?
Right. No, the From Software develops for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, Sony has some sort of like exclusivity kind of deal with them on this particular IP, but would that be a proper PlayStation 5 exclusive? I don't know. There's so many people, basically like talking about this game being still a PlayStation 4 game. Well, but it could be. You never know, because like at the end of the day, I would imagine if they already announced like Death Stranding, Last of Us Part 2, and all these games, and we still don't know their launch title dates, I guess if Bloodborne was coming to PlayStation 4, we should at least seen some sort of like trailer. So maybe it may actually be coming to PlayStation 5, but it's a good game, and I'm sure it would sell well on PlayStation. As for the whole this game coming to like Xbox, it sure would be it sure would have a following. And it would be nice actually for Phil Spencer actually to bring way more Japanese titles to the platform, because like I think you said it, even if Xbox is non-existent in Japan and Asia actually, there's a lot of guys actually enjoying these games, like Resident Evil, like Onimusha, like all these games, right? They Shadow Die Twice. This game is coming soon, right? So these games going to sell well here in the Western world as well. So I'm really looking forward to see what other Japanese developers Phil actually managed to convince to make games for Xbox. And also remember that Xbox actually has now this new. Is it like a Japanese division or like Asian division of Xbox?
I think it's really was made to try and garner support in Japan.
Oh, in Japan. Okay,
yeah.
So either way, like I would imagine that they did this on there's a purpose to it, right? So I'm sure they will want to convince more Japanese developers to actually create these games. And don't forget that Xbox is aiming for like 2 billion gamers, right?
Yes.
So and remember, a lot of Japanese gamers and Asian gamers actually play on mobile. So having that kind of Japanese games on Xbox xCloud would make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you make a tremendous amount of great points. You know what? I want to move on to topic number 2, though. Resident Evil 2, the remake, is set to take the gaming world by storm on January 25th. And my God, how come it's not January 25th already? It is already Boom's Game of the Year 2019. And from what Capcom has already shown, it's really going to be one of the top ones. This is going to be talked about, even though it's releasing early. We're going to be talking about this come December of this year. But you know what? With all of that said, as a gamer who truly enjoys all 3 consoles in the current generation, I had some ideas. And you know what? This is a topic I made up. And it's for fun. There's no relevance behind it. I have not heard any rumors, but it is a question that I wanted to poise the panel as well as my incredible chat. And real quick, I gotta say thank you to Smitty Smith with the $10 super chat. Dude, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And he says, boom. Thank you for all the hard work. It doesn't go unnoticed. And dude, that is very, very kind of you to say. Trust me, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that no one will ever see. I'm up writing past 1 o'clock almost 3 times a week because I want to put out a product that you guys deserve, and that's why you're never going to get a shit show. Even when I'm sick, I'm writing. So thank you for that. But you know what? This is the question that I want to pose to the panel. And again, no relevance here. This is completely made up by Boom. But I want to get everyone's opinion on this panel because you guys are gaming veterans. Should Konami, who's the most hated company outside of EA and Activision, who's completely stopped making video games, knuckle down and put a team together to make a Metal Gear Solid remake on the same lines of Resident Evil 2? Noof, what do you think about this?
Nah, I really could give a shit because I'm not a big Metal Gear Solid fan. So
okay, that's fine.
0 for 2 on the first 2 topics with Noof. Holy shit! I have the newer Metal Gear Solid games. Had number 5. Actually, I haven't even finished it yet. To me, I don't know what it is about Metal Gear, but it's just the dynamics and the way that they've designed that game. Like for me, I'll take Sam Fisher over what's his name any day, Solid Snake. So yeah, go with some Splinter Cell. But look, I think if they do, it's great. I mean, they could sort of, in a sense, I think they could try to revive the franchise. I don't even know if you consider it I wouldn't say it's dead, but I mean, it does feel like Metal Gear needs some sort of shot in the arm. And I know there's a generation of gamers who were never exposed to the original game. So just like I think the Resident Evil 2 game is going to find a new audience as well as the hardcore who played it. I think this could be the same case scenario here if they were to go back. And we were starting to see a lot of that now with the remakes and remasters and remakes in particular, because they get to go back and it's not as hard. They don't have to rewrite anything. They don't have, the script is there, the content is there. And how many games did we see during the PlayStation generation or the N64 or Sega Saturn that were great games conceptually, but were never fully realized because of the technology they were based on? And I think some of the Metal Gear Solid games probably fell into that troop as well. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to see a lot of games. Imagine like Sega, if they went back to something like Panzer Dragoon, but actually made it on today's game engines and stuff like that with today's technology. I think there's a wealth of games out there, and Metal Gear Solid included, that could definitely use a good shot in the arm with a little revive, maybe a little throwback, and get people back on board. So that's as far as I can take this one, but it's here nor there to me. If they do, great. If they don't, makes no difference.
Now, look, here's the thing. I hear what you're saying, and it makes a lot of sense. Again, I say this all the time, and I will repeat myself live on the air. Every game is not for every gamer. So listen, you're entitled to your opinion, but so shady. I want to go to you. Now, here's the thing. In my opinion, and I want to get yours, is it high time for Konami to take their head out of the sand and give us a new Metal Gear Solid? And you know what? When I say new, I say remake, because the original is one of my favorite games of all time. In fact, it's in my top 3 of 40 plus years gaming. Shady, what are your takes on this matter?
I think it'd be an awesome thing for sure, but let's be realistic here. It's more in the line of reality for Konami to make another goddamn pachinko machine of Metal Gear Solid than they are to go out and really do a remake. Like, that's just the kind of path that this company is on. They're not doing video games like they were in the past, which is unfortunate because they had some pretty damn good series. Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation absolutely blew my mind when that game first came out. Like, when you're pulling out your cigarette and smoking it to see the laser beams and stuff like that type of immersion just was new to gaming, and I loved it. I tore it apart in 2 days, and it was fantastic. Unfortunately, the Metal Gear series kind of dropped off a little bit for me after that. I never got hugely into them. I did play a bunch, but I just found the story and whatnot was a little bit too out there. Like,
it is wacky. There's no that. What do you think? Death Stranding is the way it is. I mean, come on.
Right. That's right. And like, again, there are massively huge, passionate fans for that type of storytelling. I'm not one of those. Like, to be honest, I'm not into the animes and like the Japanese way of storytelling. It doesn't sit with me as well as it does with others, and that's totally fine. I thought that the Resident Evil 7 and the remake, this Resident Evil 2 remake, were a little bit more westernized, both in the way that they played and in the voice acting and the storytelling, if you will. So if they were to do something similar to Metal Gear, I think that would be good. Make the story a little bit more understandable. I think that would help a lot of people out. I would not sure what they would do with all that dialogue. Would they just keep it like it is? Because, man, if I recall, you were sitting there for like 20, 25 minutes just listening.
Yeah. Some of the cutscenes were long, dude. I mean, like
right.
so long you could make a sandwich long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like again, at the time, it was new, and we were all just like, wow, like listen to this story that's being basically read to us. Whereas in today's world, I'm not sure if that would translate as well. If they could make it more like the last Metal Gear, that could help, perhaps. I don't know. Like Noof said, there's a lot of games in the past that I would like to see come back today, but not just a simple up-res and call it a day. Like really go in and rebuild the game, call it a reboot, if you will, update the game engine, update the graphics, update the way the story is told. And like there's just a lot of IP back there that is amazing, and I think can be resurrected, if you will. Metal Gear is one of them.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Microbox, let's take this picture and paint it. Resident Evil 2, the remake, I think is going to start a trend, not just at Capcom, but I think many of these bigger companies that have older IPs like a Metal Gear, if you went back in and you tore down the house and you started building from scratch with today's technology, you could make a modern day masterpiece. And actually, it had the potential to be so good that it would actually be better than the original. What are your takes on the possibility of Metal Gear Solid making a comeback in this generation or maybe the next?
See, that's a tricky one for me because, when I had my PS2 and my PS1, the Metal Gears gave me something new. They gave me a new experience. And I can remember, I think Shady mentioned this. I remember playing Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PlayStation 2. And it was just an amazing story and you get engrossed with it. And then you actually sit back and think, hang on a minute, am I actually playing this game or am I actually watching it? Because, I mean, there are times, I think the last sequence before you take on the boss is about 40 minutes long. And it's like, what's going on? So is there a place for it to be remade? I think there is a place for these games to be remade. But yeah, you have to do. I mean, what they've done with Resident Evil 2 is just incredible. I mean, I've downloaded the demo. I've made a point of not playing it because I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to get. How long is the demo? Is it half an hour?
You get 30 minutes, but you can beat it sooner. UK Dazarus, who's in the chat, beat it in 20. He keeps putting that in my face because I posted I beat it in 23. So you know what? Good on you that you didn't play it. I mean, we're a week away, give or take. So
yeah. I mean, I'll wait and I'll get into this. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen videos. It looks amazing. I know it's not a remaster, is it? Because they have gone in and they've changed things and they've basically remade it. And that's what I think they should do. I mean, they do it all the time with movies these days. It's not always something that's extremely popular when they reboot these movies, but there are games out there, as the guys have said, that really deserve this sort of
second life, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there that just need that extra polish, and to go back and start from scratch and rebuild them and make them into these new experiences. There's a lot of IPs out there that are just sat on a shelf somewhere that can be brought back and reintroduced to new audiences. And Metal Gear Solid, yeah, I mean, it's a big franchise. People love those games. They're not particularly for me now. I mean, I've got Metal Gear Solid 5. It's still sat on the hard drive. I've played about 10 minutes of it. And I was like, nah. It's just, and I bought it. I didn't wait for it to, because it was on Games for Gold, I think, last year or the year before.
Dude, I synced at least 60 plus hours into that game. Absolutely loved it. Just loved it. Wacky story and all.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. I mean, it's I may go back to it at some point and play it, but it's just not really where I am now as a gamer. It's just not really something that appeals to me. It's just not my thing. But yeah, I mean, there's certainly an audience out there for it if they did do it, and I think why not? It's a great series, Yeah, it is a bit wacky, but people like a bit of wacky now and again.
Yeah, that's why we play games. But real quick, before I get on to the next panel member, Infinite in the chat with the incredible $10 super chat. He says, as a man who bought a t-shirt 2 weeks before you aired your first show, I cannot thank you enough for that, because I knew it was going to be good. Don't always get a chance to catch it live, but my son and I are huge fans. Dude, I got to tell you this. That is, first of all, really cool that you bought a t-shirt. It's even better that you get to listen to these shows with your son. I think that in itself is magical. And I cannot thank you enough for not only being a fan, because I can't believe I actually have fans. I really kind of did this just to talk gaming. And that's awesome of you to drop a $10 super chat. So thank you for that. But Fuzzy, I want to get your opinion on this. Again, an older gamer like me who probably grew up with the Metal Gear series. Yeah. I think it's time for the return of Solid Snake, but I want the original redone in the same way as Resident Evil 2. Is it a possibility, and would you want to see it?
I'd like to see it, but with some updates to it, maybe.
Yeah, they would have to definitely tweak something, because we're talking a game that's 15, 20 years old.
Yeah, it would almost, they would have to almost do some branches as far as the storyline or something along those lines, just to kind of make it so the cutscenes aren't as long. You're interacting, where, not to make it like a Telltale type of story at that point, but at least have it where the person, to keep them engaged, so they're not, running downstairs making the sandwich or whatever before they come back. Yeah. But and as long as, if Konami's going to do it, as long as they don't do the pay for an extra save slot, that would be.
Yeah, that was a bad deal. You know what? I wasn't even going to bring up that other Metal Gear, but you brought it up, and yes, paying for a save spot is not a good way to garner success with a game. Don't do it, please.
No, but they could definitely, and I hate to use the word cash in, but it's a series that at some point either needs to be rebooted or at least revisited in some way, whether it's, a side story type of thing, like an offshoot, or try to, they don't have, what's his name anymore, but
Hideo
Kojima, but I would like to see them reboot it, kind of like what Shady was saying. At least not just up-res it, but go in, add to the story, fix some things that are going to be more current with the times, type of thing, and go from there. But it wouldn't be a bad game to have them revisit.
Yes. Well, listen, I hope they do. And real quick, Agent Rayhan, a childhood friend who is also a division agent with me, with the outstanding $20 super chat. And he says, huge. And that's how I feel about this particular super chat. Thank you for that. That is extremely kind. I appreciate the support. Mads, I want to get your opinion on this. I don't know if you played Metal Gear on tape, but I do want to know if you want to see a Metal Gear reboot in the same line as Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if it was modernized just like Resident Evil, that would be cool. I mean, I was a big Metal Gear Solid fan back in the days. I didn't particularly like the last one, the Metal Gear MGS5.
Okay.
I kind of felt that this whole open world kind of didn't really fit this game. But I don't know, maybe I was tired on the open world games and whatever, right? And I'm not really, I don't play Sims, and the whole building base and whatever, right? That wasn't for me. So I played pretty much all the main kind of line games, but I remember when I first played on PlayStation, right? On the first PlayStation, it was mind blowing. And if they made it really modern way, and did something with with the way the story is being told, because nobody is going to watch 40 minutes cutscenes anymore. Look what kind of a backlash we had with Quantum Break, right? So I don't think that gamers would actually be happy about that. But if they did that proper way, and really remade it and modernize it, I would be I would be very happy about that. But realistically speaking, like the way things actually going with Konami right now, I wouldn't really be the I wouldn't really have my hopes too high, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with you. Listen, Konami is we know they're making gym equipment. We know they're making slot machines. We know that's where their money is. Those types of businesses do very, very well in the Asian markets, more specifically Japan. They tried to do this Metal Gear nonsense that was just it was an abomination. It really just fell off the radar, and for good reason, because it was terrible. The story was dumb. Paying for extra spots, not good. It's just dumb. But you know what? Listen, anyway, as a gamer whose glass is always half full, I'm always hoping that we're going to get a surprise, and it's maybe sell the franchise. If you're not going to use it, for God's sake, sell it to someone who actually will do the justice that this very, very classic franchise deserves. But I want to move on to the next topic, and this was the
Boom.
Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, I'm the inspiration for Metal Gear Solid. You know why?
Why is that, sir?
Because I'm always hiding in someone's box.
No, chills. Well, listen. Before because that was so good, I lost my chain of thought. But I'm gonna get back to it. Okay, Mortal Kombat 11. The reveal stream was nothing short of amazing yesterday. The fatalities, as a fan of the series, blew my mind. I'm a huge MK fan, but I actually suck at it competitively. And if you want to see Boom get his ass handed to him by UK Dazarus, go to his channel and watch the ass wiping, because that's exactly what it was. Now, the game looks insane. The fatalities did not disappoint. And we know that there's going to be a season pass with 6 additional guest characters, and we don't know who they're going to be. I'm super stoked for this. Noof, you brought someone with you that normally doesn't get a chance to speak. Arnold is here as a guest with you at your house. What was his take on Mortal Kombat 11?
Oh my God, that game just blew me away. I mean, did you see the graphics? I mean, it was intense. I mean, the guy smacks the dude in the face and his face goes flying and his eyeballs everywhere. I mean, Scorpion, he looks badass. I mean, the characters, the graphics, amazing. I mean, swear to God, I'm going now to get to the chopper. I'm going to be the first in line to get a new copy.
Nice. Well, listen, Arnold, it's always great. It's always great to hear from you. But I want to get Noof's opinion on this. I don't know how big of a fan you are. Like I said, I love the series. I'm just absolutely horrendous at it. What were your takeaways from this stream? I was blown away.
Dude, I think my spine actually fell out on its own after watching that trailer. Like, wow. You know what? I was a moderate Mortal Kombat fan before, but holy heck, I am getting that game day one. I don't care if I'm kicking and screaming and suck at fighters. I want to play that. That game made me want to play it, and that's a good sign. The graphics, the fluidity of the motion. And like I said last night on the Salty's Gaming Podcast, we have to realize this is the first sort of generational Mortal Kombat we've had on this series of consoles. We had 10, but 10 was based and was built essentially for the 360 and the PS3, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So this is, you can definitely tell that this is a modified rework of that engine, and it just looks amazing. Obviously they've had a lot of experience and been able to tweak stuff since Injustice 2, but I mean, this is the first real Mortal Kombat I guess we've had. The character list is massive, and man, that collector's edition too looks almost as cool as the game. I definitely want to pick that up, and I don't get collector's editions often, but that looks super sick. Even the cover of the game looks badass. I mean, if you're a Scorpion fan, you're just giggling with joy.
Yeah,
but,
it looks good.
I'm more of a, hey, would you be surprised? I'm more of a Sub-Zero guy. I mean, after all, they call me No Chills, right? So it just makes sense. But
and you're from Canada, so you like the cold.
I am from Canada. That and the eye candy of Katana. Those bring those on. But yeah, man. What can I say? Just the animation system, the brutality of it looks like it's on another scale. Instead of the sort of the semi-tacky the X-ray version of bones breaking. Now you're like literally seeing like intestines and blood and guts kind of fly. It's definitely the rated M game that everybody's wanted.
Yep.
I just can't wait, man. I can't say much more than that other than we're super excited. Man, this year is going to be hard on the wallet. So dig deep, folks. Get some overtime in or do something or sell yourself on the street corner.
That's right. Click hands. It usually works as well. So shady. Listen, Noof mentioned the collector's edition, and anyone that follows this channel knows that I absolutely adore collector's edition. I'm not always in the financial position to get them, but when I saw this, I thought, my God, I have to have it. Now, here's the thing. We have still unconfirmed prices of this because Game Rant did a story at having it at $150. Now, $150 is good for Boom. I mean, again, you can pay that off in 3 shots at GameStop because it is a GameStop exclusive here in the States, and I would be great. But then they have a link that sends you to GameStop, and it says $300, which I think is absolutely nowhere near worth it. It is not a bust. It is a mask. Like I showed it on Twitter. I have both collector's editions of Titanfall 2, which were $250, and one comes with a robot that's almost 2 feet tall, and the other one comes with a wearable helmet. What were your takes on not only Mortal Kombat 11's unveiling, but the collector's edition possibly being $300?
I'll touch on that 300 possibility first. That's insane. A lot of money. Like that. That's a lot of cash. A little too much for me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But not because it's not a statue. I prefer that it's actually a mask. I've read that it's not confirmed wearable. They say it's life-sized. But I mean,
it's 1-to-1. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't actually wear this thing, that has got to be one of the biggest missed opportunities in a collector piece in history of collector pieces in video games. If you cannot wear this thing, if you can, my God, like as much as I just said that 300 is too much, all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, look at my avatar. Could you imagine a scorpion mask on that thing? I could.
I could as well. Yes.
But I mean, I also happen to have a couple buddies that are like really artsy and they build like leather armor and stuff like that. So I would almost rather go with and actually hang out and spend some quality time with a friend and build my own scorpion mask. And it would be 100% unique, as opposed to just like one that everyone else who plumps down the big cash has. Myself, it's very cool looking, no doubt. And if you can wear that thing, oh yeah. But $300, man, no, it really is. That's too much money. I hope it's a misprint. As for the reveal, oh my God, like it's embarrassing, to be honest, how much money I spent in the arcades on the Mortal Kombat series. I was big on the arcades. I'm of that age where it was a thing, and I was there on the frequent man with a pocket full of change, and Mortal Kombat was eating a lot of it. I loved that game. It was absolutely mind-blowing when that first game came out. The graphics looked so real. We had never seen anything like those fatalities before in the gaming world. It was rocking everybody. I mean, we had senators out there trying to make the game illegal, ban it. Parents were flipping out. Like all of a sudden kids were at school tearing each other's spines out. Like, come on. But it sent waves through the industry. Waves. It was the first game, Mortal Kombat 2, that actually got Nintendo to have mature titles and start putting blood in some of the games that were allowed on their consoles. Mortal Kombat 1 had sweat and got just trounced by the Genesis version, which had the true blood and fatalities. They got killed. So Mortal Kombat 2 came out, and Nintendo, for the very first time, said, all right, we'll let the blood and fatalities in. It was the better version, and the sales were huge. I remember putting in so many hours. I had every single move, fatality, babality, animality, everything for every character memorized in less than 2 days. I didn't need my book of moves anymore. And I remember my parents looking at me like, hey, how come you can't do that with school? Why is it just Mortal Kombat moves? And my answer at the time was because I'm interested in this, and this helps me kick ass by knowing it all. Whereas school, I don't give a shit at the time. And that's unfortunate because it did show that you have the ability to basically soak up that info like a sponge when you really wanted to, man. But the reveal was insane. I loved it. The gore was on point. I want that type of violence taken outside of Mortal Kombat and plopped into like Battlefield 5, for example, where you're blowing guys' faces off, eyeballs are hanging out. Gruesome, like make it so gruesome that even So Shady is like, all right, dial it back. Yeah, dial it back a little bit. Like, let me just see what we can do. And I really think the developers are afraid. The political climate today is not a friendly one. No. And video games aren't looked at like movies where anything goes. For some reason, people think that because you're controlling this game, I'm controlling this game, I'll say instead, that I must be a psychopath because I'm lighting people up and there's guts hanging out everywhere and I'm laughing like a lunatic while doing it. I mean, it's all fun and games. Relax at the end of the day. I want to see the violence level get pushed in something outside of a zombie game myself.
Yeah, but, I agree, dude. I mean, listen, you hit the nail on the head. First of all, the gore and violence that was on display. Listen, I played in the arcades, and I was there when you had to put in, and Chaos Theory threw this out there. Good on him that you had to put in the abacadabra to get the blood. And Super Nintendo had green blood, which was which was terrible. But you know what? It was back in the days, and yes, people did come out in droves trying to put the kibosh on this game. It is pretty amazing that we are up to a number 11, and it looks to be as glorious as it's ever been, especially when it comes to the fatalities.
Oh my God, those fatalities were extreme, ripping faces off and everything. I loved it. There was that one scene where time almost slowed down.
Yeah, the guy with time.
A bunch of moves. I almost think that's a new type of X-ray. Like I expect the X-rays to still be there. I was a big fan of those myself. I thought that was really cool, man. Like that new character Garrus, the Egyptian type guy.
Yes, he looks really time. Yeah.
He looked badass. Ronda Rousey is now voicing Sonya Blade. She's a total badass. Sonya's always been a badass. Like I love Mortal Kombat, man. It's had a wicked comeback. Mortal Kombat 10 really put it back on. Everyone's kind of conscious in the fighting game world, and I think this one's going to follow up and surpass it. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And Micro, real quick, the $300 or supposed $300 price tag, had me scratching my head because a lot of people know, or you may not know, Arcade 1UP is a sponsor of the Double Barrel Gaming channel. I honestly cannot believe I even say that out loud. And they sent me an arcade. I have a machine which I built, and I'm going to be reviewing very soon. But they during CES 2019, they showed off the Mortal Kombat home machine. It comes with Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. That is priced at $300. I just, I love the series. I love the games. I really want that mask. But my God, $300 for a collector's edition is maybe asking too much. And I also want to get your take on the reveal. Take it away.
Well, $300. I mean, if you've been a big fan of Mortal Kombat, which a lot of people are, $300 isn't going to sway people that are really, really into this. I mean, I've made it no secret in the past on this show even and the Micropod that I'm really, really bad at beat 'em up games. I am just terrible. So for that reason, I haven't bought any for a while. But in saying that, Mortal Kombat 11 has got my interest. I mean, I was there back, 26 years ago now, when the first one came out on my Commodore Amiga, and I queued up at the shop to get hold of that game because I'd spent so much time in the arcades playing it. So the fact that it was coming out on the Amiga is like amazing. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of controversy about the game because of the death mirrors and whatever. But people have been a fan of this game for, 26, 27 years because it released in 92 in the arcades. It's a big thing, and they've got a big following. The game looks incredible. I mean, I really like the look of 10, although I never bought it because I didn't want to get shown up by my son. He absolutely loves the Mortal Kombat games. I mean, I dread to think what level he is on that game now. I mean, he played it for years. I don't think he went to sleep when it came out for about 6 months. But I definitely am going to be getting this one. I'll have to anyway because he'll want it. So and we game share. So I'll definitely be picking it up because he'll want it anyway. And it's definitely one I might actually try and get a bit of practice in and actually get a little bit better on it. But I mean, it looks so smooth. The graphics are incredible. I mean, it's on a different level. And the stuff that they showed, the death moves, and they were quite bad in the last one, but the ones I've seen so far on this new one are just on a different level again. I will be getting it, definitely. This will be the first beat 'em up. I'm a big DC fan, as you mentioned earlier, and I didn't even get the DC one that came out last year because I'm just so bad at them. I didn't want to show myself up. I can't enjoy them if I don't get any good at them, and because I can't sort of dedicate the time to them, I can't give it the practice that it deserves because I want to go on and do other things. But I think Mortal Kombat 11's got me interested. Be the first one I've bought in about 10 years.
Well, I mean, listen, the game looks fantastic. What I really admire about the Mortal Kombat series more than anything is that, sure, it has versus, sure, it has online, but it tells a story. If you're a guy like me who's a single player kind of a dude and just wants to appreciate, put it on easy, appreciate the story, play it for 10 hours, unlock all the characters, unlock some gear, you can do it. And they encourage you to do that as well. But Fuzzy, I want to get your opinion on this, dude. Besides the collector's edition possibly being really pricing a lot of people out because $300 is with some shenanigans, you could get yourself an Xbox One X or a PS4 Pro for that kind of money. What were your takeaways from how incredible this game actually looked?
The unveiling was freaking awesome. Spending my lunch break at work looking at it, I'm like, oh man, this is exactly what I wanted to see. I kind of wanted something like that in Injustice. I mean, I think they use a similar engine, but just seeing how you're shattering bones, pushing eyeballs through the skull. I know it sounds horrific to hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, that was great to see," but it's like for a game like that, it just brings back so many memories of playing Mortal Kombat. Just when you would see like blood and guts, splatter after fatality with the uppercut and whatnot. So to see that they've gone the extra mile on the detail, to see that they've brought back some of the characters, just that's I think what everybody's been asking for a while now, and we're getting it. The $300, I'm gonna hold off on that. Most of my collectibles that I have I'll usually get like the collector's edition book, like the guide, and it just goes on like the bookshelf type of thing.
Yeah.
If the mask was wearable, I might have to take a long pause on it and wait until hopefully there's some still around. A couple months down the road when there's a sale, like maybe 150 range or 160, yeah, I'll jump at that. But 300, I can get so many other games to add to the collection.
Yeah, well, you know what it is. Unfortunately, Mortal Kombat 11 is coming at a good time for the game. That's no doubt about it. It's perfect. Mm-hmm. But it's a bad time for a $300 collector's edition after the first quarter of this year, which is loaded with games.
Real quick, Boom, you know what I didn't hear anyone mention is the story in these fighting games that NetherRealm puts out is fantastic.
Yes, they are.
Oh my god.
I actually look forward to playing this fighting game for the story, if you could believe it.
That's right. And if you compare the story in these games only to other fighting game stories, they're like Oscar winning insanity. Yeah. Like the NetherRealm puts the story in the game like no other company has been able to put into a fighting game. It's insane. It's not just like a ladder bracket with a little bit of a text bubble at the end. Oh, you won, and here's where you went off and did, kind of like Street Fighter tends to do a lot of the time in the past. A lot of games in the past, but man, the story is so good. And the Mortal Kombat story, I don't know if it's because it's a video game or it's just better, but they're better than the movies. Way better than the movies. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, no, great point. Mads, are you there, my brother?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay, listen, I want to get your opinion on this. Were you able to take a look at the reveal, and what is your opinion on how absolutely outstanding Mortal Kombat actually looks?
Yeah, I mean, I did see the reveal, the whole reveal. Funny enough, I actually a couple of days ago I played Mortal Kombat 10 and Mortal Kombat X via the Xbox Game Pass, right? And I had still this old graphics in my head, and now I've seen this, and I was totally blown away. The amount of detail and stuff, and that's interesting. I was actually watching this stream on my monitor 1080p whatever, right? No, it was streamed, so the actual image quality is still not great, and you could see all the smallest details and everything, right? The textures and everything. The game looks to be super smooth and stuff. Honestly, it's like it's on another level. Honestly, it's one of the prettiest games I've seen recently. And fighting games has this tendency to kind of like stand out in terms of like graphics, because these are not really open world games or whatever, right? But this one looks amazing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I played a little bit of Mortal Kombat MKX on Xbox recently, so I will finish it pretty soon, and then I'm looking forward for this one as well. Is Xbox going to have like
They have the
marketing
marketing.
deal?
They have the marketing rights for Mortal Kombat 11. That is correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
because I've seen some pictures on Twitter with kind of like a sticker on the actual console, whatever, like plays best on
Yes.
on Xbox and stuff.
Yes.
So I can only imagine how this game is going to look in like 4K, whatever, right? If it's going to be 4K, but anyway, it's going to look way better than on the stream. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But like as with regards to the limited edition, like I'm not really into that like collecting stuff. But like $300 seems like a lot.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that's a typo of some sorts, because that's.
I'm not entirely sure about it, because like I think I've seen a couple of guys on Twitter actually sending their like receipts already, like they pre-ordered it, I think, on from GameStop. So I think it does cost like $300.
Yeah, that's a shame, because that's going to box out a lot of people. And for me, 150 was the sweet spot. 300, man, shit, I don't know. I may have to do a hard pass on that, but. You know what? Everyone had a great, I'm glad this was a great topic. Everyone really got into it, because everyone's a Mortal Kombat fan. And this stream was just, my God, it was so good. It was so good. I watched it twice.
By the way, sorry, I just wanted to actually chime in. Like Microbox actually did mention that he played Mortal Kombat on Amigo. I did too. So
wow.
Showing our age.
Yeah. Okay. Listen.
And I still remember like swapping all the floppy disk and stuff all the time. Every time you load Fatality, that was amazing.
You got to give a big shout out to the Welsh gamer in the chat, and he says #Boom buys everything. Thanks, Mooch. I appreciate you giving me that title, but I want to move on to the next topic. And you know what? I'm going to talk about it again, because guess what? This is my damn show, and I love Resident Evil 2. So I want to talk a little bit about the reveal of the story length. And it appears that gamers around the world will be spending a significant amount of time in Raccoon City. And this story I pulled from GameRant.com. Now, there's only a little less than a week before Capcom's Resident Evil 2 remake officially makes it to the marketplace. And it looks as if the publisher and developers have decided to continue putting out information about the title right up to before its launch. Now, the story I pulled from Game Rant, they were the director of Resident Evil 2 as well as the producer were at a Resident Evil 2 event in Dubai, which led to the two discussing and revealing the survival horror release story length. And again, everyone talks about length, right? Because when you say I'm going to spend $60 on a title, people say, well, I could play Red Dead for 100 hours and I got my money's worth. Well, according to this reveal, the story is going to be 10 to 12 hours per character. Now, I think that is a straight up dry run, not looking for everything. A guy like myself who loves Resident Evil, who has it as his number one game of all time, will easily sink 40, 50, 60 hours in there. It also has been confirmed that not only the fourth survivor, Hunk, known as Mr. Death, is going to have his own game, like he did in the original Resident Evil 2. It's a mode where you play only as him, that you got to get the hell out of there with the T virus or the G virus. It's also Tofu from the original is going to be in there. Also, part of that fourth survivor. And there's rumors that Ada Wong will have her own side story. So there's going to be loads of things to do. Noof Nukem, I want to get your opinion on this because, you on a regular basis talk about price when it comes to games, and that as a consumer, you want to get the biggest bang for your buck. And I completely understand that because who wouldn't? But for Resident Evil 2 being anywhere between 25 to that 35-hour mark, is that enough for you as a gamer?
Well, the time spent at a certain game has no bearing on the price for me. Because first of all, yes, you can spend an easy 100 hours in Red Dead Redemption 2 and think, yes, you got it, your money's worth, and I can't argue with that. But to me, it has no bearing because if the game is great, it could be 5 hours long, and I still think it was worth my $60 or $70. I don't put that price to how much time spent, going through a campaign or whatever, because I'm such a big Gears of War fan. That is hands down my favorite franchise. And 5 hours in Gears is worth just as much of the, say, $80 price in Canada as spending 100 hours in Red Dead Redemption would be for me. Do you know what I mean? Right. So it just really depends on your flavor of the month kind of thing. So as long as the experience is good, I don't care if it's short. I mean, I might be disappointed if it was a great experience and it did seem like a little bit short. Like if you can finish it pretty much in one sitting, then I think that's a little bit too short. I know some people too that don't go to sleep. They buy a damn game at fucking 7 o'clock in the morning and they're still playing until 7 the next day. And I'm like, come on, man, I can't do that. But that's how I look at it. But as far as the game itself, I mean, I tried the demo, absolutely loved it, thought it was fantastic. The new modern play controls, the graphics were nuts.
The hit detection was unbelievable, dude.
The visceral nature of it, like I said, the gore levels are ramped up. I mean, it's just a taste of what's to come, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have a big success on their hand with this remake. And like I said, they're doing it right. And hopefully if all the rest of that content comes along too, it's going to be a great revisiting for the old school fans like yourself. And it's going to be an awesome first introduction for people new to the series. So super excited. It's going to be a damn good game. I will definitely be picking it up. Just at what point I haven't quite decided yet, but it is looking fantastic.
Yeah, it definitely is. And real quick, I want to shout out Crazy Game and Chloe, who says in the chat that they want a Dino Crisis. And guess what? According to Anonymous One on the 4chan forums, who has really knocked it out of the park when it comes to Capcom-related information, supposedly Dino Crisis 1, the original, is getting the same treatment as the Onimusha that just was released for $20. So if you want that game, go out and buy Onimusha. Tell Capcom you want this. Tweet at them. Let them know that Dino Crisis needs to return, even if in an HD format. Let them know. But you know what? I want to go to So Shady on this. Listen, Shady. We just talked about gore and faces being ripped off in Mortal Kombat, and we move right into Resident Evil, which of course had people's faces hanging off, and the hit detection in this game look to be superior to anything we've seen. I mean, you can shoot him in the knee, you can shoot him in the face, you can shoot hands off. It looked absolutely outstanding. What are your takes on the fact that it's going to be anywhere between 25 and 35 hours? And for a nut like me, we'll gladly put 60 into that bad boy.
All this talk of violence, I got to make sure keep my pants back on here.
Hold on, this is the PG show, fella.
That's right. The time sounds good, and it's been weird to me when you hear some of the devs or the sites, they're like, it's going to take you 20 hours to beat this campaign. I know as a gamer and the way that I play games, that translates to me roughly like 40. It's almost always double for me because I like to look in every nook and cranny. I literally splash in the water to see what the physics are like. I shoot at everything. I reload sections that I loved and kill all the guys over and over and over in different ways. Like, I really tear these games apart. I play them for the engine way more than the story 9 times out of 10. Like, it's the rare game that I'm playing for story over the actual gameplay, moment to moment, stuff like that. Like, that's how I do my gaming. And I don't run around in full speed everywhere. I don't throw up my waypoint and away I go as fast as my character goes. Like, I like to stalk and walk and really get immersed, if you will. Like
So you basically do a lot of sightseeing when you're playing these games. You want to look at every bookshelf. You want to look at every, like area that's normally people would just blow by, like a sitting area in the Resident Evil demo. People would just walked by that. But I actually looked around.
That's just it. Like I actually read the spines on the books. There's a lot of little in jokes in a lot of games and Easter eggs and secrets. Like I'm the type of gamer where when you know the game wants you to go to the left, I'm going to the right all the time. I'm story phobic almost in most of my games. I'm like, I'm going to go wherever the game doesn't want me to go. I'm looking for secrets. I'm looking for cool little things to see. I'm trying to break the engine a lot of the times as well and just see how far I can push things. Like, so hearing about 10 hours, 12 hours per character, to me, that says maybe 15 to 20. Because of the way I just described how I play. And that's perfect. That's really perfect. I don't need every game to be 100-hour just monster. Sometimes that's a little bit intimidating, knowing that a game can be that long, and also knowing that the way I play a game, like The Witcher 3, that's going to be 500 to 1,000 hours for me, for God's sakes. So it's just hard for me to really want to get into and truly immerse myself in, because I just know it's almost impossible for me to want to see what I want to see and do what I want to do in a timely fashion. So to have some of these games come out that are actually beatable in a realistic time frame, I think is great. And I'm with Noof as well, like as long as you feel that you got your money's worth and you had a good time, that's great. Like we have games like Spider-Man, people are beating it in 12 hours, 20 hours, and then other people are losing their minds for the vanilla Destiny 2 because they put in 40 or what have you, and they're just, it's not enough. Like people want different things out of different games, which it's puzzling to me, to be honest. So I'm not sure. I think this is a great length of time. It knows that what it tells me is I'm going to beat them. For sure. I'm going to get to the end because it's not just this endless hike. So I'm really excited. Like everything I hear about this game just makes me more and more excited. I'm glad it's so close.
Yeah, me too. Real quick, Zawayne in the chat is asking a question. He says, will they do a remake for Resident Evil 3? And I got some great news for you. According to the same tipster known as Anonymous One on the 4chan forums, he broke all of the Resident Evil 2 news before we had anything, and he knocked it out of the park. He also, after the reveal of Resident Evil 2, stated that according to his Capcom source, Resident Evil 3 is in pre-production and it's going to get the same treatment. And I got goosebumps just talking about it. But Micro, I want to get your opinion. Listen, I super appreciate the developers being extremely forthcoming concerning the game's length. I'm going to find everything in this game. And like I said earlier, I will put at least 50 plus hours into it because I'm a Resident Evil nut. But for you as a gamer, are you okay with the game being between 25 and 30 hours? And what are your takes on Resident Evil 2, the remake?
Boom. Just let me just quickly jump in with one little thing, though, before I lose my train of thought. Sorry to cut in on you, Mike, because I know I had my chance to speak. I just wanted to say, though, with these games these days, right, determining the length. Now, all these companies have stats, and we've seen this, and we also see it through Xbox Live achievements and various things, where it states like how much of the game your friends have played, like a completion percentage. So, do you think it's a problem? And there are lots of games out there, because I've talked to a lot of my friends who've owned The Witcher 3, but I'd say the vast majority of them
did
have
not finish it
in the game. So, do you think that this is a problem, not just for that game, but in any game in general? If the bulk of your audience has not completed it, does that either mean, one, the game is just too long, two, they just don't have enough time because there's so many games to play, or three, the game just is not interesting enough to keep people going? Because for me, that's a problem. When I'm playing a game and I get so many hours in and I'm kind of going, Jesus, I wish the end would hurry up and get here, I think that's an issue, right? And I just kind of wanted to put that out there, because I don't think these games need to be 150 hours long.
I agree.
Don't finish them. I think you overextended it. It's like those long movies that are like 3.5 hours, and you're like, man, they could have did this in 2. You know what I mean?
It's with almost any campaign, though, even when they're short. That's just a percentage, and I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I know personally, I don't get or look at any enjoyment of a game on making sure that the credits roll. It's nice when it happens, because that means that I enjoyed it to the end. If I don't make it to the credits, it's not a bad thing about the game almost at all. It's just because I've moved on. Like, I play everything, so I don't have time to beat it all. And story is the least important thing in my games. I'd rather just play it. I like to rip the engine apart, and when I'm done with that, I'm on to the next one. And
Yeah.
you know, so I don't think it's either of your things where the games are too long or they're boring or none of that really. It all comes down to the gamer, and there's just so much coming out now. It's all so hot. You got to play it all, and I think that's the issue, really.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Noof, those are fantastic questions, and I kind of want to answer one. First of all, before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, we got from Rockstar themselves. Not this wasn't an opinion. This was fact. It was a 60-hour story, and I'm going to be honest with you. Not that I was intimidated. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to hang around for that long because, damn. And guess what? I got to chapter 4 and it completely fell off a cliff. Now, I'm not saying the game is bad. The game is a masterpiece. It's a modern day masterpiece. End of story. No questions asked. Graphically on the X, second to none. Arthur Morgan, one of my favorite characters in this generation. It's just too damn slow. But a game like Resident Evil 2, I think is going to not only sell well to the old dudes like us, but I think like Shady was saying, that it's going to appeal to the newer generation. I'm not sure if that was Noof. And that's great because you know what? I want to see Capcom succeed. Micro, what are your takeaways on Resident Evil 2's length? Is it like 30-ish kind of enough for you as a gamer?
Well, I think the thing is, I mean, there's different types of gamers out there. I like the long experiences, but I like the short experiences as well. I like to have the longer ones that I'm going to get full sort of benefit of, like Red Dead Redemption 2. But then in between, I like to have something a little bit shorter, something that I can just pick up and just play. I mean, we've had conversations in the past of games coming out that have got like a campaign of 5 to 8 hours, and people have been complaining. And I think games like that are too short. But a 12-hour campaign, 12 to 20 hours, I mean, that's ample for me. I mean, I was quite surprised actually because I had an email from Microsoft to say that that I paid for the game the other day, and it came at $44.99, and I was a bit surprised by that. And I thought, oh, that's a bit more than what I was expecting it to be. I thought it'd be about 30 quid. But when I realised just how much game time there was in this, what they put into it, I can understand it now. So, yeah, I don't want every single game that I buy to be 100 plus hours. I mean, they say the single player campaign is 60 hours on Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, it took me 105, but that's because I was doing other things along the way. I mean, I'm very much like what Shady was saying. I like to take everything in and explore the whole area and take my time. I mean, you've got these gamers that all they want to do is play a game and just speed run it, and I just don't understand how you can really get any.
Yeah, I don't like doing that either. I want to enjoy the game.
Yeah, I mean, how can you take anything in and really enjoy the experience when your aim is to finish the game in the fastest way possible, skipping everything and just going straight through? I personally don't see how that can be an enjoyable experience. And then you've got other people that will like just sit down and they will milk that game to get 100% achievement every time. And on games like Red Dead Redemption 2, that's a hard graft.
Oh God, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's a hard graft. I mean, I've got 105 hours on a game that I've got less than 400 gamer score on. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, how much time have you got to put into these games? And as I said to you earlier before we went live, I mean, I picked up Assassin's Creed Odyssey over Christmas because I finished Red Dead, and I'm now on that, and that's a huge game as well. So to have a game that's sort of 12 to 20 hours long is just that's a nice relief.
Yeah,
I can go and enjoy that, and then that's perfect for me. I mean, 20 hours is fine, and single player experiences you expect to be sort of that, but
right.
Developers have this tendency of just saying, well, how can we draw the game out more? Let's go and have them hunting all these different things, and they've got to find all these flowers around on the map, and it's just a way of dragging the experience out even more, which is great. If you want to do it, the option is there to do it if you want to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, great point. So you said something real smart there, dude. Single player is expected to be around 20 hours, for worth of play because it's a single player, which is great. I'm super stoked. Fuzzy, I want to get your opinion on this. Like I said, I think that normally Capcom's a very coy kind of a company, right? They're not usually out there banging drums. We know that, and we're talking going all the way back to the NES days. but they have been banging this drum, and you know what it is? Good on them. They have balls of steel. They know that this is going to be a hit. They know Resident Evil is a franchise that everyone knows and loves. They know everyone loves Resident Evil 2 more specifically. What are your takes on the 30 to 35 hour single player and having all of these extra modes? And they did say in this interview that there were modes that they have not disclosed, so I'm expecting to spend a lot of time in Raccoon City. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think it's great that they at least gave kind of like a window to expect, so it doesn't scare people away. But like, oh, the story's too short. The ones that are going to breeze through type of deal. But whenever they say the amount of hours, I look at like how much I fall into games sometimes, and I usually doubling it usually isn't what I wind up with more than like double the time that they say it is. Like I'm still in the middle of Odyssey, and I probably have 120 hours in it.
Yikes, that's great. Yeah.
But it's like I go to each island or to each spot of the map, and I finish the base 100% it, and then I'll sometimes have to go back because it's like, oh, you forgot to find this artifact in this jar and stuff. But yeah, it's great that it's at least more than 20 hours. I think gamers have this fictitious thought that a game needs to be over 20 hours to equal the $60 price tag or $70 price tag for it to feel like it's a value. But I think it comes down more to like what Chady and Noof and basically everybody's been saying. It all depends on the gamer, and it depends on the amount of enjoyment that you get from the game. Like some people play Forza for 10 hours and they're fine with it. I got like 16 days in it, and it's like I just look at it as, oh, you know what, it's cheaper now for me to drive a souped up Shelby GT or something like that in that game and drift it around the corner than me spending $60,000 on the car and drifting into a curb and break a wheel and I've been there, done that, and it's the games are more my relaxation. And with the boys being into gaming as well, it's like, okay, this is like the new version of family time with the boys.
That's great.
They're not really into like football or anything like that. They do jujitsu, so that's their activity. They also are into music as far as playing instruments, but gaming is like our time. It's like, all right, we're going to have a head-to-head race at the drag strip, or we're going to have a head-to-head on like UFC Fighter or something like that. But for the most part, 35 hours of with story time between like 4 different characters and maybe some additional ones that they're going to add in. That's plenty. I mean, that goes to show it's going to be worth the value that you pay for it. And if you're into that type of game, then that'll wet a lot of people's whistle to say, you know what, those that were on the fence that may have waited, they're going to go ahead and pick it up and know that there's going to be stuff coming down the pipe if they happen to breeze through it, which I know most Resident Evil fans, like you said, they're going to look on the bookcase. They're going to go back into the room that they just cleared and see if anything else might be behind, like a box or something like that. So that's plenty of time. I'm pretty sure there'll be that guy out there that's like, oh, I finished it in 13 hours. Well, great for you.
Great for you. Fun? Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, as long as you had fun, I guess speed running is that's a thing too, because I'll admit I used to speed run in Division. Like after beating the story and having my character fully geared up, it was like me and a few people in the community were like, how fast can you do the I forget the apartment name now, but it's like how fast can you go through it? I can do it in 5 minutes. I can do it in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So it's like then that becomes the new challenge. It's like, all right, you've already beat the game, you've already found everything. Now how can you have fun with that game? You go back through and it's like, all right, I've already cleared everything, but let's see the fastest way I can get through it. Oh, let me see if I can improve that time. So the game is what you make of it. And 35 hours is plenty of content for a majority of gamers out there. I don't think that many of us will probably finish it completely, but those that are really into the Resident Evil series, they're going to have more than 35 hours. They'll probably have 35 hours in the first month. So
maybe. Well, listen, here's the thing. Shady, you want to add something to this, dude?
I do. I was going to say, if the achievements are done right, I've always looked at the achievements as a great way to remix the way you play. We can all make it from point A to B. We can all do that. Mm-hmm. But can you do it with your left arm tied behind your back, blindfolded, using only a knife? You know what I mean? Like, it's a different way. It's a way for the game to kind of recommend, like, hey, can you do this? And I like those achievements a lot more than just you beat level 1. You beat level 2. You beat level 3. You're not really achieving much. You're doing what you're supposed to there. Whereas the challenges and stuff, I mean, we used to do that when we were young on our own. And I thought that I still think that the good achievements, they do that still today. And if this game has them, that alone will add to the time in. And real quick, I enjoy comparing the value of my gaming to, say, going to the movie theater for entertainment.
Right.
And gaming is a way bigger bang for your buck. I mean, to go see an IMAX up here in Canada, that's like $20, $21.
Yes.
You're looking at a large popcorn, that's another 10 to 12. So it's like $32 to go and see a 2-hour, one and done for real, one and done, non-interactive form of entertainment. That's almost half a game. So if I'm getting anywhere from 6 hours to 8 hours, I'm getting way more than my money's worth already. And most games I get more than that. So as expensive as gaming is, go ask how expensive it is for like a hardcore theater buff to go and see a movie or two each week. I mean, that dude's breaking the bank as much as any hardcore gamer.
I agree.
So I'm down with the price of games and the time it takes, really.
I'll be honest though, I mean, just to butt in as well, I mean, we're going on about the length of this game. I'm quite concerned about my experience with the game personally, because I still haven't been able to finish Resident Evil 7 because it scares me so much. You know?
That's great.
And this is what gets me. I mean, I loved the Resident Evil games. I mean, I've played through Resident Evil 2 3 or 4 times, and I'm just worried now that they're going to make that game so scary. I'm not even going to. I'm getting old and jumpy, and I can't play these games anymore. So I've bought a game that I'm not even going to get 5 hours into, let alone 20, 30 hours. I'll be wiped by the end of it.
Speaking of that, does everyone play alone in the dark, headphones, volume cranked? Or
I did for 7. I definitely will for 2. No doubt about it.
Yes,
it's got to be done.
I got the A850s, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go with scaring myself until I pee.
That's great.
Mads, I want to get your opinion on this, dude. Listen, listen. I beat Resident Evil 2 50 times on a multitude of systems. It's my favorite game of my entire generation of gaming. It looks as Resident Evil 2, the remake, is going to replace Resident Evil 2 98 in spots of 1 and 2. What are your takes on your excitement for this game, and are you okay with the length?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited about the game, to be honest with you. I played the demo a little bit, and looks very good, and plays very good. It's modernized and stuff, so I loved it. I pretty much played all or most of the Resident Evil games, even those that were released on Nintendo, a Nintendo GameCube back in the days, and then they were remade for current consoles. I haven't finished all of them, but I'll for something. But as for the actual length of the game, I think that everyone will agree that people tend to like variety, right? Can you imagine every single game being 100 or 200 hours game, right? You would have no time in your life for anything else than just gaming.
Yeah.
And you have to work, I don't know, sleep and whatever we do, right? Other things I don't know, even sitting on the podcast, right? So, I don't have a problem with that kind of games, 10 hours, 12, 15, and the thing is even not Resident Evil, Red Dead Redemption 2. I finished this game last year, and I'll tell you, I don't know how many hours I put into the game, but at some points it was kind of dragging a little bit, and I wish it was okay, so let's move with the story a little bit, right? So I like actually those more condensed kind of games where I'm kind of really kind of stressing out, okay, so what's going to be what's going to be just around the corner, and what have you, right? So it's nice to have have a 2 or 3 kind of evenings and finish the game and move on to another one, right? Instead of building this huge backlog of games that you actually started and never will and you probably not going to go back to, right? So I have no issue with that kind of shorter games and stuff. So I guess these are good for achievements as well, even though I'm not really an achievement guy anyway. So yeah.
Well, listen, I'm super stoked. Obviously, I think everyone knows I have the collector's edition pre-ordered. It's on the way. I cannot wait. It comes with a 12-inch Leon S. Kennedy statue. I'm a big fan of that particular character. But you know what? I want to move on to the next topic, and this one is going to be interesting. Microsoft bad boy Mike Yabarra sent out a tweet yesterday that got the internet, including Boom's panties in a bunch once again, where he took a picture of of Splinter Cell's Sam Fisher. It's a life-size statue, which I wish I had in my house, PS, by the way. And the internet basically broke. Now, look, here's the thing. In the past, Mike Yabarra has been known to play games and tease fans. And my God, I hate when he does this because I think he might have taken it a little too far. Or did he? See, that's the question. Now, I've gone on podcast record in 2017, in 2018, and predicted the appearance of Splinter Cell on the Microsoft stage for both E3s as well as them being exclusive. Now, to this date, Boom will publicly admit it. The egg is still on the face 2 times in a row, and I'm going to do it again because now with this information, Boom is predicting E3 2019, the new Splinter Cell not only announced on Microsoft stage, but as an exclusive. Now, my God, please, Ubisoft, save me from myself. Noof, I want to get your opinion on this. Why does Mike Yabarra continue to do this? And is there any relevance to this picture?
Well, first of all, Boom, let me just say that
Mike, welcome to the show.
As long as the egg is on your face and not in your panties, then I think
God.
good, okay? Second of all, guys, I just wanted to say, like, Sam Fisher is one hell of a sexy dude, so I couldn't help but put out the fucking picture of him up online. So I really hope that you guys are enjoying that, and I really think there's some big surprises coming here down the pipeline, guys. So yeah, I just wanted to jump in and let you know.
Well,
Thanks, bad boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Yabarra, let's give this guy a round of applause. He shows up when he's not expected. Thank you for clearing that up. But Noof, I want to get your opinion. And you have a house full of guests, which is shocking to me. I know Cletus will eventually make his appearance, like always. But what is your opinion on this picture? And should we take it serious?
I would say there's something behind it. Look, I don't think it's any secret that there is a Splinter Cell game in development. I mean, it's too big of a franchise to kind of just kill off, and we haven't seen Sam Fisher in quite some time. So I think that's pretty safe to say. It's just a matter of not if we're getting it, it's when we're getting it, right?
Okay.
I mean, like I said, it's kind of embarrassing that we've seen how many Assassin's Creed titles on the Xbox One and PS4 since the generation started, and we have not seen one Splinter Cell game. So show Sam Fisher some love over the Ubisoft, for crying out loud. Get this game out. We also have heard in the past, and we know because Michael Ironside has kind of leaked it out, that he's been back in the studio doing voice work. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's not back there just to whisper sweet nothings in somebody's ear. He's back there doing his shit, and it's great to know that Michael Ironside is back to voice Sam Fisher, because, boy, was he certainly missed in Blacklist, right?
Yep.
It's not the same when, sometimes they get great voice actors who can come in and sound almost identical, but that wasn't the case in Blacklist. I found it sounded off. But yeah, so I definitely think there's a game coming. This would be the opportune moment for Ubisoft to show off something this year, because it is 2019. We've been expecting it for a while. And I certainly think that obviously the executives at Microsoft probably know there's something up. And I wouldn't be surprised as well if there's some sort of at least promotional exclusivity for Splinter Cell with Microsoft. It's traditionally Splinter Cell has been more or less kind of associated with the Xbox brand. They've kind of been hand in hand for years. I remember when Chaos Theory came out, that was the definitive edition on the Xbox platform compared to the competitors who had the weaker and crappier editions of that game. So yeah, I definitely think there's something in the works. I think we're going to see something soon. I think Mike Yabarra is onto something.
Okay. Well, listen, it's great to hear from you, of course. Great to hear that Mike actually took the time to show up on this little show. So it's greatly appreciated. I want to get your opinion on this, because obviously you run the Sesh Empire and you have spies everywhere, one of which may be Sam Fisher. What are your takes on the fact that we get this picture? I mean, listen, my glass is always half full, so I'm excited. I'm thinking, okay, it's coming, and he did this on purpose to kind of let the cat out of the bag. What are your takes on this tweet and photo of a life-size Sam Fisher statue?
Well, first of all, you're right. I do have agents everywhere. But I think Noof really nailed it. Like, it's not a secret when you hear the rumors in the background. I mean, Randolph Thor in the industry, he swears to the gaming gods are in Teases. All hail. That Splinter, he knows someone who's played the game, played it. So I mean, like, unless literally Ubisoft has slit this game's throat like a true Black Ops agent, I don't think it's dead at all. I think it's coming, and unlike Noof, I'm kind of glad that it skipped the first whole bunch of years. Now the X is out, the Pro is out. They're familiar with all the systems. Every game that's coming out today is melting my face off. I need a plastic surgery after each new one. Like, it's just games coming out today are just so much better than the first couple of years on the gen. So much better.
Right.
So to think that there's a possibility of a Splinter Cell dropping maybe this year, maybe next year, ooh, that's exciting, because I can only imagine what they've been able to learn from the mistakes of every other game that's come out and really just go all out on the graphics, if you will, and the physics and the engine. Just like, I'm excited. Splinter Cell is my spy game, if you will. I really do enjoy that series a lot. And I think the writing's on the wall that it's coming. As for when, geez, who knows? I hope it's soon.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. You know, Microbox, you know, when I think of Sam Fisher and Splinter Cell, I think of Xbox. When I think of you, I think of Xbox. And I can honestly say that Microsoft could be in a position, because their checkbook is open. We've heard the stories. We've seen the purchases to lock down a Splinter Cell as an exclusive. Mike Yabarra teases everyone yesterday. What are your takes on this? What do you think that is actually happening?
No, it'd be fantastic if they announced it as an exclusive, but whether that will happen, I don't know. I mean, it's no secret that they've been working on something for the last year or two. I mean, I expected an announcement at E3. I expected an announcement at Gamescom, and then I thought XO18 and nothing. I was like, give us Splinter Cell, for Christ's sake. I mean, I know that Michael Ironside did some voice work and he was hinting at it, and but I mean, some of that they did bring out that level, didn't they, for Ghost Recon Wildlands? But I think from what he was talking about, he was doing something a lot more in depth than just that sort of mission that they brought out. So hopefully it's the man back for the game. I mean, as great a game as Blacklist was, it just didn't have that
edge. Yeah, it didn't have the edge.
It didn't have the Michael Ironside effect, and he's got such a distinctive voice. And whenever you hear it, the first thing I hear about, think of when I hear Michael Ironside speaking is Splinter Cell. He's as important to Splinter Cell as the game is to the Xbox. So I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for Splinter Cell to be officially announced and see some gameplay. I think we're missing a game like this. And we haven't had a Splinter Cell for 6, maybe 7 years. We need another Splinter Cell game. There's a gap in the market for it, and I love the Splinter Cell games. I mean, the first one was outstanding on the original Xbox, and Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, they got better and better, introduced that amazing multiplayer.
Mercs versus Spies was fantastic.
Mercs versus Spies was just amazing.
Really good.
And the co-op side aspects to that as well. It would do extremely well. Whether it's exclusive or not, it doesn't bother me. It would be nice if it was, because then it gives, people that argument that we haven't got enough exclusives at the moment. It sort of takes that away a little bit. But, it doesn't make any difference to me. With the exclusives on the console that I play on, it doesn't make any difference as long as the games are there that I want to play. So if it comes out on all of them, it's great. Everybody enjoys it, and get the cross play, get the old PlayStation and Xbox guys playing against each other, the PC guys as well. Get us all in the Spies versus Mercs, to get us all going against each other. Bring it out, just get it out there, release it. Just announce it. Stop teasing us and give us the bloody game.
Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, I'm going to say this. I'm so desperate for a new Splinter Cell game that I would take an HD remaster of the original, which is probably still one of my favorites. throw it out there for 30 or 40 bucks, and you got me. I'll take it. I mean, listen, I appreciate
the trilogy. Do the trilogy.
Yeah, you can absolutely. Ubisoft has been known to bring older Assassin's Creeds to the modern console, right? So, give us a trilogy and charge me $60, and I will gladly pay it to play. I'm sure it would have some sort of X enhancements, and I would gladly play it until you release a proper next Splinter Cell.
Gotcha.
Definitely. So, but Fuzzy, I want to go to you on this, dude. Listen, Splinter Cell, and I say this all the time. When you talk about characters, you talk, and you talk about how relevant they are in just gaming, not console specific, just gaming. You talk about Mario, you talk about Kratos, you talk about Nathan Drake, you talk about Master Chief, Marcus Phoenix. In the same conversation is Sam Fisher. And he is, in my opinion, as important to gaming as any of those other characters. Do you think that not only is this, this tease have relevance behind it, but do you finally, like me and the rest of the panel, want to see a proper Splinter Cell?
Oh, definitely. And just like Shady had mentioned earlier, like somebody that ran knows it played like the alpha, or at least like some of the early builds and things like that. There's definitely something in the works, but I could have sworn there was either like a video interview or a written interview with, I'm going to probably mess up the guy's name. I think it's Yves Guillemot.
Yes. That's the CEO of Ubisoft. Correct.
I could have sworn he made mention when somebody asked them about Splinter Cell and a couple other games, as far as with them, they had made mention early in the generation that they were going to slow down the release of games, although Assassin's Creed kind of went the opposite way. But I said they were going to like postpone releasing as many games to give them more breadth and time for expansions and things like that. I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but I could have sworn he said that they had worked on Splinter Cell, and that it to release it in the vein that they wanted, it wasn't ready for this generation, the hardware that's out there now. Although I don't think he was including the Xbox or the Xbox One X or the PS4 Pro, just wasn't up to snuff. Like that, Wildlands had really taxed out the hardware to some extent, and that something like this would have to be postponed to the next generation. Now, I'm hoping, X1X and the PS4 Pro can, handle a new Splinter Cell, but I could have sworn he said something along those lines that it was being pushed back. But I almost guarantee, I won't say guarantee, but I definitely expect to see a Splinter Cell, at least at the launch of next generation, considering there's been so much buzz and words that, people have been playing like early builds of it. And, you have Ironside, possibly going back to the studio to do more than just like the stuff for Wildlands and things like that. So Mike Yabarra is that type that, he trolls us sometimes, but I think down the road we see how things, make sense. Like when he did the thing for what is it? Rise, Son of Rome. He was like, you still remember him?
Yes, he did.
Yep. They were already talking to Crytek about, and unfortunately it wasn't about a sequel. At least I don't think it was. I knew that they were working with them to bring a Crytek game to Xbox, late in this generation. And I believe that's Hunt Showdown or something like that. It's kind of like the, a smaller PUBG, but with monsters and vampires and things. So, if it's not that they're going to bring back a Splinter Cell, it's definitely some sort of Ubisoft workings that they're going to have with them. But I'm almost certain that it's going to be something dealing with Splinter Cell. It just has to happen at this point. It's one of those big, blank spots or missing IPs this entire generation. Like, we have some of the remasters. You can do the backwards compatibility and stuff. But, and there have been some appearances in the Division, or more so in Wildlands, but I think just the outfit in the Division. It's they got to do something. They know that there are fans anxiously waiting this.
I'm pretty sure it will.
They're not going to leave money on the table like that.
No, like you said, Ubisoft did come out and say they want to support their games with long-term content, both free and paid. And they also, in a similar time, did say that they're only investing in series. They're not doing one-off games. Basically, coming out and saying that if a game trips and kind of falls on its face, the series won't die. They're going to learn from their lessons and improve on the sequel. They're in for the long haul on the games that Ubisoft is doing. There will be more Assassin's Creed. I expect a Crew 3, to be honest. I really do.
Yeah.
Like they said, they're dedicated to the games they have as being long-term series, all of them. So unless Splinter Cell was literally killed and never coming back, I'm sure it's coming back in a big way and will continue into the future.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Pink Floyd, a good big fan of the channel and big supporter as well, says that what's missing in gaming are a couple of titles, and I agree 1000%. First, he says Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, and Splinter Cell being one of those titles. We know that he also says Fable. Fable is currently, we know they're working on it, but he's 100% right about Splinter Cell. Mads, I want to get your opinion on this. You know, it's pretty amazing when you think that this generation started in 2013 and we're closing it. We're in the 6th year of the generation. You know, it will be a full 6 years come November, and we don't have a Splinter Cell in this generation. It just makes me scratch my head. Mike Yabarra, we know, like I said, he does like to, troll every now and again. He's funny like that, or, to some people, annoying. I don't think so. What are your takes on this tweet, and do you think there's any relevance behind a new Splinter Cell coming in this generation, possibly in the next?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really read too much into the Mike Yabarra's tweet. Like, obviously, he did that in the past, like with other characters in games. So, I wouldn't say that he's teasing anything, right? I think he even he made like a follow-up tweet to that and saying that he just came across the statue somewhere, whatever, right? But obviously that doesn't mean that next new Splinter Cell is not coming. And we've been hearing so much information about like leaks and speculation. And we had this guy who's making voiceovers for Sam Fisher. He was in one of the Inside Xbox shows, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So, there's something to it. I mean, and, it looks like Microsoft may actually have some, marketing rights. Hopefully, I would imagine. I mean, at the end of the day, if you think Xbox, like original Xbox, you think Halo.
Yeah, me too.
But also Splinter Cell. And to be honest with you, Splinter Cell was one of the most kind of like advanced graphically games on Xbox. Like, they were like using real-time shadows and, all kinds of graphics effects that were not available on other consoles, right? This is I'm not trying to make any jabs at PlayStation, but when you actually compare, like even to this day, if you compare the Splinter Cell on Xbox and PlayStation 2, I mean, like two different games basically.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
It's honestly it's like running a game on Xbox One and Xbox One X right now, right? Totally different level of graphics. So, and obviously, wasn't one of the Splinter Cell exclusive to Xbox 360?
Yeah, I think the next two might have been after that.
Yeah, something like that. But so I'm sure that it's coming. Now the real question is when, and it would be refreshing to actually get this game, to be honest with you, because to me the Metal Gear Solid 5 was a bit of a disappointment. So I guess Splinter Cell could have saved the generation for me in terms of that kind of games. But hey, I'm really stoked for. I don't know. Hopefully E3. Hopefully Microsoft will show this game at the E3 stage. But at the end of the day, we've been saying this for the last 3 years. And
yep, we certainly have. I've been on record saying it. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just the world needs Sam Fisher, and the gaming world needs another Splinter Cell. Let's hope that it's getting here sooner than later. But I want to move on to the next topic. On the cusp of the Bungie Activision split that really just completely took over the internet last Thursday, The Treyarch has announced a free trial for Call of Duty Blackout, the Battle Royale mode in obviously one of the biggest selling titles of 2018. The trial will be available for Xbox One, PS4, and PC, and it started yesterday, and it will last until January 24th. Now, first of all, Noof, we talked about this right before we went live, and I seen you mention a few things on Twitter. You and I are both in the camp that we did not jump on board Black Ops 4 because it did not have a single-player campaign. Now, look, single-player campaign for me is why I personally, bought all of the Call of Duties. Did I dabble online? Sure. I played a little bit of it. My favorite mode, Kill Confirmed. I like that mode. A lot of people don't. Whatever, fine. I hear you. But at the same time, it's what I bought the game for. It's why I did not buy Black Ops 4. But you see, that actually is not the story. The story here is that on the back end of this press release, there are rumors that Black Ops 4's Blackout mode, which of course is the Battle Royale mode, is going free to play. Now, here's the thing. The game only released a couple of months ago, and if this mode goes free to play, I think that the millions of people that bought this game for the full boat are going to be pissed. Noof, I want to get your take on this. First of all, I know you could care less about the multiplayer, but what is your opinion if you were in the camp of someone who spent $65.01, possibly more, getting this mode to go free to play?
Well, it looks like they're trying to dangle the carrot in front of fans who haven't jumped on board with this game or this particular game mode yet. And just because I like carrots doesn't mean I want the whole damn stew, okay? It is not for me. You guys left out the main ingredient of my stew, and that is the campaign. Yep. So I am sticking to my guns. I ain't giving Activision my time. I ain't giving Activision my money. Fuck you. Fuck your stupid ass theories and your practices and your bullshit. You guys keep leeching the fans to death, and you know what? Unfortunately, everybody just keeps fucking going back. I can't explain it. It's like that girlfriend that just keeps bringing you down and slapping you upside the head, and you just keep on loving her. So you keep doing what you're doing. Look, it is what it is, and I like the Call of Duty franchise. That's the thing. I like the franchise. I'm disappointed. I'm a little upset. I'm a little peed off. And I, like I said, I can go on a rant all day. I'm glad people like the game mode. I'm not even trying it. I don't like these battle royale modes. They're just not for me. I don't like having to go through so much work for a shitty ass payoff that, you know what I mean? Right. So no, thanks. That's all I can say. And like I said, for those people who've spent the money, again, it's a free trial, so I don't think they're just going to give away like their main selling point now for free for the long haul. They're trying to get new fans on board. Obviously, like I said, they're dangling the carrot here. People will jump on board. Maybe they'll go out and buy the game even more. Apparently, it's still selling like hotcakes. So, good for them. But again, I have to stick to my guns too, because this is what's wrong with the industry, is that people keep buying in without questioning what they're buying. And the thing is, okay, they didn't bring the campaign this year, but the question is, if they keep knowing they can get away with it, right? This is what I'm saying. These big companies, they give an inch and they take a mile. Do you know what I mean? And so they know that people are going to keep going back to the well, no matter how much. I mean, what's next? They're going to make a game that, eventually they take everything out and then start recharging you for all the shit you once had. You know what I mean? Like, they're nickel and diming the fans to death with so many things, and people don't even realize it anymore because we've gotten so used to this trend in the gaming industry that unless you're a hardcore, most people don't even realize that at one point in time, a lot of the content you get charged for now used to come with the freaking games. Now they keep it separately. They add it on as DLC when it was probably built from the ground up from day one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So look, Activision, no thank you. A nice try, but you're not getting Noof Nukem. I'm a stubborn old bastard, and I'm going to stay that way.
Hey, listen, you're a consumer, and you are absolutely entitled to your opinion when it comes to where your dollar goes. Now, So Shady, listen, you play Call of Duty. We know your main game is Battlefield 5, but what are your takes on the Blackout mode going free? I mean, we know that they're trying to get new players. We've seen that they added a new DLC where you can buy for $1, which they talked about on Salty's show last night, the red dot for your gun, which is just outrageous. And again, I get it's $1, but if 1 million people buy this stupid thing, that's $1 million. What are your takes on them trying to not only get more people, but potentially screw over the fan base? Because that's what I think it is. If you paid 50, 60, $70 for this 3 months ago, and it's going free to play, the blackout mode, which is what most people bought it for, I would be pissed.
Oh, you're welcome to be pissed, and Noof is welcome to feel any way he does. I feel totally different. This is the first Call of Duty that I bought specifically for the multiplayer, thank God, because that's all it offers. But I knew that's what it offers. So, I mean, like, it wasn't like what Noof said, where I'm not sure what I'm getting. I know exactly what I'm getting. I think Activision was very upfront about it. And I'm willing to believe them that they actually were planning on doing a campaign, and whatever happened behind the scenes didn't work out. And because Battle Royale was absolutely massive at the time, they were able to take advantage of that and still deliver a game on their timetable that offered a mode that, let's be honest, is hot as hell for a lot of people. Not everybody, certainly, but a lot of people. So I believe them on that. And they've also come out and said that this isn't the norm. The next Call of Duty coming out this year will have a campaign. So I believe them. Like, until it comes out and it doesn't, I'm not thinking the sky is falling as far as no campaigns anymore, because this one's sold. Like, and also I wouldn't be upset if Battle Royale was 100% free to play after the trial. If that ended up being a thing, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, that is what happens as an early adopter. It's no different than buying a game for full price day one. In today's world, it is going to be heavily discounted within a month, 2 months, maybe 3 at the most. You're looking at half off almost every game. That's the way it works. That's the way it works in all electronics. I bought my TV 7-8 months later. It's $700 less. Like, that's just kind of how it goes. So I'm not too concerned about that. And I can see why they would do it. And that's because the blackout is not as popular as it was when it first launched. A lot of people are going back to Fortnite and even PUBG. It just doesn't have the staying power that people thought that it would. And a lot of people, from what I've gathered, seem to think it's because each match is fast, but sort of plays out in a very similar fashion. Whereas the pace of a PUBG match or even a Fortnite match, because of the building dynamic and everything in Fortnite especially, it almost offers a journey for a lot of the streamers, especially the people watching. They can kind of feel what the match is happening, where Call of Duty is just kind of like run to a house and you start shooting some guys, you run to another house, grab a few things, run to another house, shooting some more people. And that's what I've gathered, is the storytelling of the game is just not there. And that's weird to say because it's a battle royale mode, but like the individual adventure is just too bland in the battle royale for a lot of people for its staying power. So giving it free would bring a lot more people as well. So I can see why they would do it. I wouldn't be mad. I bought it early, knowing that it's going to be discounted later and maybe even free. And same with, Battlefield. If they end up putting out their battle royale for free, I don't think that's a bad thing either, as someone who purchased that game.
Well, listen, great points, really great points. Microbox, I want to get you. I don't know if you're a Call of Duty player. I know that you play the hell out of Battlefield 5. What are your takes on the free-to-play? And if you were a consumer who jumped on, because there are a lot of people that bought Black Ops 4 full price for the blackout mode, and now it's going free-to-play, possibly. And this is a rumor. Nothing's in stone, but it's Activision, so they're gonna look to squeeze this lemon until there's nothing left. What are your takes on that?
I was a big Call of Duty player. I was, I said earlier, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I mean, it was an incredible game, and I enjoyed them all the way right up to all through Black Ops 1 and 2. I didn't start losing interest with them until they started getting a little bit futuristic, and you had all that jumping mechanic and all that sort of thing. I hated that. But I would jump between the two. I'd jump between Call of Duty and Battlefield. So I think they need to make the Battle Royale modes a free thing. And as Shady said, if they do that with Battlefield 5, so be it. I mean, at the end of the day, you buy Battlefield 5 and you've got everything. There's no season pass now or anything. All the maps come in. Activision are there just to squeeze every little ounce of money out of people. And it's one of the things that's really turned me on. I mean, this is the first Call of Duty I haven't bought, actually, because every time I've said I'm not going to buy it, I always bent and I always bought it in the end. This is the first one I have not touched at all. originally my argument was there's no there's no campaign, but then I look back at it, and the last few Call of Duties I didn't even play the campaign. I just went straight to multiplayer, and I played the hell out of that. World War II was brilliant, a really good game, and I actually did play through the campaign of that game. I did enjoy it. So deciding factor for me wasn't the fact that there was no campaign. I just felt that Call of Duty is just sort of done to death now. And there's no real gap between them, and it's just the same. And the one thing that really irritated me was they're still charging full whack for the game, and it was just a multiplayer. And I think that most of the work, it has been a copy and paste sort of multiplayer for quite some time. And I don't feel that, what are we paying for as a consumer? We're buying these games, and then they milk us for all these extras. So yeah, I mean, they can dangle the carrot. I won't even play the battle royale mode that's free until the 24th. I won't touch it. I'm quite happy playing Battlefield, and if I want to play the battle royale mode, I'll just go to PUBG, because Call of Duty does tend to be very much a run and gun game. It's very fast paced, and for the battle royale mode, I don't think it would. I like the slow pace of PUBG. It's a lot slower paced. But yeah, no, I mean, Call of Duty for me, Activision are just greedy bastards as far as I'm concerned, and they have been for a while. And I mean, when you look at when they did the remaster of Modern Warfare and the price they charge for that, and then they still put their little microtransactions in there.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross.
All they needed to do was give us the bloody back compat on that game, and we'd have been more than happy. Like they've done with the others, but no, they had to go in and remaster it and just rinse us for more cash for a game that we'd already spent an absolute fortune on. And the thing with Battlefield 5 as well, the fact that there's no season pass now, so everybody gets the maps. There's no split community on Call of Duty. You get all these separate map packs. Not everybody buys them, and then you instantly got this segregated community, and you're not getting a full open community of people playing this game and everybody playing the same game, which Battlefield has been guilty of in the past, but thankfully they've gone the other way now. So yeah, I mean, that's my other big issue with it.
Down with map packs.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
I think we're at a day and age where segregating your community through price point is dead.
Yeah. I mean, we are very much in sort of a Candy Crush gaming sort of genre now, aren't we? Where we've got all these extra things that we've got to keep purchasing. I mean, when you've got to buy $1 for a gun sight, for Christ's sake, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's sad. It is Activision. They're one of the last few people doing these passes. These map pack things. I think they're eventually going to have to get on board or get off the pot, so to speak. Yeah. Fuzzy, I want to get your opinion on this. We're running in the 2-hour mark, and I don't want to hold you guys up from your day. What are your takes on the possibility of Black Ops 4, the blackout mode, going free to play? I mean, are you a Call of Duty player?
I used to be more so when Modern Warfare first came out, and I played it on PS3 and stuff like that. But as far as the Black Ops, I've never really been into the Black Ops games themselves. But if they do a free to play, I'm fine with it. Only because I kind of dodged that bullet. Same thing like with Fortnite. Fortnite was originally that Team Fortress type of game, or Save the World type of game, and I was thinking about getting it, and I heard rumors, it's going free to play the following year. And then they did the whole battle royale, and everybody kind of forgot about the original game. So with Blackout, I chose Battlefield 5. It's more for me because of the campaign and vehicles and things like that. Although I guess Blackout has vehicles too, but I've always been more of a Battlefield fan once that came out. Like I don't know. I just passed on it. And if they're going to do free to play for the battle royale, I'll give it a try. It's free. I mean, why not? But I'll probably enjoy it. But I don't know. It'll be a nice alternative to Fortnite. Never really liked the graphical style of Fortnite, so I always gravitated towards PUBG. Play that a little bit. I wish they would do 50 versus 50 in that, but that's a whole nother story. But glad I didn't spend the $60 plus on Blackout. So hey, let it go free to play. For those that bought it, sorry for your luck, but like Shady said, it always happens. You buy a game at full price today, 3 months later, it's 30% off. So kind of deal with it, whether it's electronics, games, DVDs, any type of entertainment or non-necessity. you're gonna experience that same type of price drop or price cut, or sometimes the carrot and the stick thing where, hey, free to play, dollar scopes and $5 outfits or vehicle unlocks and things. So it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Great points. Mads, close us out on this Call of Duty topic. Again, free to play is the model that most companies are going. I mean, listen, you just look at what Fortnite made. We know that they're making money hand over fist on the free to play model. Obviously, Activision, lost Bungie. They're having a lot of trouble with Blizzard. And they need to make their money. And of course, their biggest franchise still is, of course, Call of Duty. What are your takes on the blackout mode going free to play?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense for them. I mean, I downloaded the actual trial because I think the trial is going from 17th till 24th, I believe, right?
Yep.
So, but I still haven't played it, so I have no opinion on the actual game yet. But I guess it makes sense for them because, as somebody mentioned, that the actual number of players is actually going down and stuff for them. So, that will, if they indeed go free to play, because we don't know that it's not unofficial information, right? It's just
it's a rumor. It's a rumor.
Yeah.
There's no confirmation that it is going free to play, but there's heavy rumors to suggest it.
Yeah, but with a heavy focus on the whole battle royale thing, PUBG is super successful. I mean, it's just basically breaking all the records, and PUBG is still up there at the top. And even though PUBG is actually charging money for the game, it's still super popular and stuff. Obviously, Call of Duty is a bit different kind of experience. So with the microtransaction stuff, it would still make a ton of money for Activision anyway. So if it's true that the gamers actually dropping the game and stuff, it would make sense. And you never know, this may be a test if people would be keen on jumping in. I mean, the whole free trial is a test to check if people would be still interested playing the game for free and stuff. I guess people are more keen on spending money on microtransactions than paying a full game. I mean, some people at least. So yeah, I guess it makes sense for them.
Yep. Well, listen, great points from everybody on this last topic. This has been an outstanding show from start to finish. I have to thank everybody who donated in the super chat. You guys completely rock. I cannot thank you enough for your generosity. The chat was on fire. Gamers talking with gamers, being polite with one another is really what I strive for. I appreciate everything that you guys do. I certainly appreciate everyone that comes to the show each and every week. It is greatly appreciated. My chat, my panel, guys, what can I say? You guys completely knocked it out of the park. This was a lot of fun, a lot of great opinions from start to finish. Let me get you guys out of here. Noof Nukem, listen, you know what? We're more than friends. We're brothers. We've never met. Hopefully, we'll be able to crack a beer one day. I look forward to that. We heard about the unfortunate game dosage cancellation-ish for now, though it may make a return in the future. We know that you announced I was actually your last guest on your show that we did the other night, which was fantastic. But you have something in the works, and I kind of want people to know about it because you're a great community member. You're friendly with everyone. You're a console supporter. You love gaming, and you love this community. So tell everyone where they could find you and all about your new show.
Absolutely. Noof Nukem on Xbox, Noof Nukem 76, PlayStation Network, and you can also find me regularly weeknights, Thursday night with Saltiest Gaming Company over on the Saltiest Gaming Podcast. So shout out to Salt, who's been in the chat as well. The Game Dosage Podcast, we're just putting that one to bed for a little while. Hopefully we'll come back to it in the future when everybody is, kind of back on the same page, et cetera, et cetera. But, like I said, you can't beat a dead horse to death. It's already dead. But let's move along. I do have something in the works. I'm going to be teaming up with Primal Eve, everybody's favorite snail trail. And we are going to be doing a show starting February. It's going to be on Tuesday night, same time as I did Goofing with Noof, only I'm just kind of scrapping the Goofing with Noof stupid title anyway. But it's just going to be Gaming After Dark with Noof Nukem and Primal Eve. So that's starting in February. I think it should be a good show. Our intention is to still have some guests come on. So hopefully, Boom, you'll come back and join us.
Absolutely.
So Shady, maybe everybody that's on this panel at some point in time. If you guys are able and willing, that is the goal. Just to talk gaming, have some fun, talk some other topics as well. That's pretty much it for me, guys. I'm out. I had a blast today. Great panel, fantastic topics. This 2 hours or so just flew by. So we'll see you on the next time.
Well, I appreciate it very much. And so Shady, let's talk about you for a second. You're a big addition to RDX. You're also a community member that you are, though, friendly with everyone. You have no problem throwing down the gauntlets when people throw shade towards you and your opinions. Tell everyone where they could find you and where they can listen to you each and every week on RDX.
Yeah, thank you, Boom. Excuse me. Thank you, Boom. I had such a good time this morning. It was great coming on here and talking games. Every time I'm invited, I love it. It's such a good time. Anyone who's interested, they can find me on Twitter, sitting atop my throne at the Sesh Empire. Maybe you want to stand up, become an agent, get recognized. I'll say hi, and maybe we play some games sometimes. You never know, man. I'm on Xbox. I am so shady. That is 2 words. Thank you so much for coming out, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe.
Very good. Great outro, my friend. Great to have you here. As always, you have become a panel regular, and I definitely appreciate that. And my brother, Microbox of X, who returned in great fashion. You didn't miss a beat. You sounded just as good as you did before you took your little hiatus, so to speak. Great to have you back in the community. Great to have you on today's show. Tell everyone where they could find you, and more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Oh, it's been fantastic to be on, especially with the guys as well. Definitely be open to any podcast offers new for definitely the old Primal Eve. Definitely. But no, it's just been fantastic to be back. So you can find me on my channel, Microbox of X, Microbox of X on Twitter and on Xbox Live as well. The gamer tags Cloned Trooper, that's 2 words. Definitely hit me up on there if you want to do some games sometime, especially if you're into doing some Battlefield 5. It's just been an absolute pleasure, Boom. Thank you very much for inviting me on. It's been it's great to get my feet wet again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you jumped right into the pool and you were swimming around like you didn't miss the beat.
And before I go as well, don't forget the Micropod tomorrow evening, and I'll also be on Respawn Gaming's podcast on Wednesday night as well. So
nice, great. Well, you're jumping in head first. That's great to have you back. The people missed you, Fuzzy. I want to get you out on here because you're a big time community member. You support everyone. You're always in the chat. You're always going back and forth on Twitter. Always positive. Always something important to say. I love that the fact that you guys are that you're on the shop podcast with PTK Blam. Tell everyone where they could follow you, but more importantly, not only check out your YouTube channel because you do have one, but where they can come listen to your awesome gaming opinions.
Thank you, Boom. Greatly appreciate the invite as well as the panel. Awesome talking games with you guys. You can usually find me on Saturdays. I believe it's 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm on the East Coast, so no, I'm sorry, 7 p.m. Eastern until we get out of daylight savings or the, it changes because the main host is in Arizona and they don't follow the time the same time constraints. But you can find me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, Xbox Live at Fuzzy Space Belvedere, PSN Fuzzy_Belvedere. Usually playing games for hours on end, or the games are watching me if I've fallen asleep at the console. But I've been excellent talking games. Looking forward to some big games that we'll probably be playing with a lot of the people in the community, Division and Anthem. Definitely hit me up. I'm all about squadding up and helping others get geared up. So yeah, looking forward to those. Excellent panel. Just awesome talking games with you guys. And hey, this community, it's like a second home. I mean, it's a second family, basically. So it's always awesome talking with you guys about anything and everything. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much again for being here, dude. Great. And last but certainly not least, Mads from Mads Gaming. Listen, dude, it was great to have you on. I first heard about your story when you were on the Iron Lords podcast. Really, really interesting stuff about where you started with gaming. I thought to myself, I got to have this guy on. I threw out the smoke signal. You answered. Please tell everyone where they could follow you and, more importantly, support your YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks a lot for having me on the show. It was, great topics, great panel. Nice to, have that kind of conversation with, with you guys. So I loved it. I love the show. Yeah, I mean, if you want to check my content, and you can hit me up on Twitter, just Mads, and Mads Gaming is my YouTube channel. I talk mostly about like technical side of gaming, really, to be honest with you. So if you're into that kind of stuff, check me out. And great topics. I love the show. So I had a blast. Thanks a lot.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, listen, everyone, thanks again for tuning in, for hanging out with us for 2 hours. This was absolutely incredible from start to finish. Have a safe weekend, especially if you're traveling on the East Coast. There's going to be lots of snow, lots of ice, so take it slow out there, or just stay the hell home and play games, which is what we love doing. Have a fantastic and safe weekend, everyone, and I'll see everyone on the next episode of Breakfast with Boom. Take care. Have enjoyed the rest of your day.